Starting. Oh, we're live now. Lovely.
Amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome one and all to episode 17 of the CasualCast. I'm your host, Sam Nicholson, joined once again by the big Ben Storia. How you doing, man?
I'm back again, one more time, probably. Hopefully, I'll be on next week. But anyway, yeah, no, I'm back. I'm doing well. How are you, Sam?
Right, fantastic, man. Fantastic. I've got a haircut today, so I'm happy about that. I feel about 10 kilos.
Fresh.
But speaking of long hair, we have the return of the one and only Jake. How you doing, Jake?
Oh, I'm doing
Real long
well,
hair Yahoo.
Mr. Baggins. It's nice to be on the show again, and tell us what the weather's going to be like, Ben.
Oh, there's a shiny with a chance of meatballs and some Star Wars spoilers probably coming up later with some light precipitation.
boy.
Is that about right?
That's going to be a good weekend.
And
Back to you, Sam.
now sports with Jake.
The sports.
Throw you under the bus.
Well, the Jedi minefields have been cleared.
Right.
Do not exploit it.
By the
They used
football team.
pickleball and kicked it 50 miles. But there was cheating involved. He slightly involved the Force.
Oh,
This
Jesus.
is against rules.
Which instant disqualification.
I don't want to be choked, so I let it go.
Fair call. But the reason why we're talking about Star Wars so much is because we've all just seen The Last Jedi, and all we're going to talk about today is spoiling the shit out of The Last Jedi. So every little plot point, every little gripe we have, everything we liked about the movie, we're all just going to lay it out. So that is a warning. If you haven't seen the movie, probably don't watch this show until
Big old spoiler warning.
but it guarantees the kind of movie where you are going to want to listen to something like this after. There's so much to talk about with this movie. And also, if you want a sort of spoiler-free thoughts from Banter Lab, we do have a spoiler-free review up on our YouTube. It should be the second most recent video we have. So also check that out if you haven't already. Now, guys, I'm going to kick it off with, it's not as simple as a question as it might seem, but I'm going to kick it off with, did you like the movie?
Okay, so I have a great answer for this. I've actually been talking to one of my mates, and he does film. He did film at university. He's just recently finished, and they've come up with a scale that I feel is a much better representation when you're talking about a movie, how you like it. So there's two extremes. There's terrible, and then there's excellent. So terrible is like it's the worst of the worst, obviously, and excellent is the best of the best. And in between, the rating is kind of like there's like good and average, and you can mix those together. So they can be like good average, bad average, average, things like that. If that makes sense to you guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's kind of how I grade my movies as well in my reviews. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's a better way to go about it. And because he's told me about this, it's made it easy for me to say if I like a movie or not. And for me, Star Wars, after a little bit of deliberation, is a good average in my books.
A good average, yeah. I can see how one might come to that conclusion. I like it a little bit more than that, but I do think it's super, super flawed. What about you, Jake? What did you think about it? Because I haven't talked to either about this movie, really. I've tried to avoid that until this conversation. So,
Thank God, 'cause I
how did
watched it last night.
There was some parts where they were really good. Like I was like, "Fuck yeah, this is good." And there's other parts I was like, "Why? Why'd you do that? That didn't really need to happen."
Why are you doing
yeah.
this?
But okay, right, yeah, keep on going. Oh yeah, that's cool. But no, wait. Oh, fuck you. Right, let's get back on the train.
Yeah,
Trying to
some things
spawn-
just didn't need to happen. Like the sexual relations between the Porgs and Luke Skywalker was just so out there.
The worst and weird sexual things were like Skywalker, besides your joke. Let's just keep it in perspective here.
Oh, Big Ben with the sass. Whose show is this? No.
Ben's more of an evil fella.
Oh yeah, obviously they're twice the height of a Porg and much better lovers.
With all their hair.
It's an easy choice. Yeah.
There you go. But
Never-
so how I kind of want to tackle it from now that we've said if we think it's good, if it's average, good, average. Well, actually, I don't think I said.
No, you
I
did
might
not.
not.
I think you should elaborate.
I should elaborate. I think it's good at best. I feel like a lot of the things Rian Johnson did with it were really unique and still fit Star Wars, but then there's a lot of other stuff that just really didn't. It was really muddled. I felt it was probably about half an hour too long, and there were a lot of scenes that just made me angry and should not have happened, which I will get into eventually. Even one of them was really minor. It's like a 10-second little clip, but that's probably the one that pissed me off the most.
Thank God.
Yeah. I was
Yeah,
pretty annoyed.
Like Leia
Well-
Poppins. But so yeah, I mean, as a as a diehard Star Wars fan, which most people who listen to this show know I am, I feel like I judge these movies more harsh than I probably would any other franchise. And I'd say it is a good at best. So I don't know. There was a lot going on. Some of the cinematography in it was beautiful. Like some of the shots were fucking amazing. Some of the dialogue was really good. Some of it was really iffy too.
A lot of it was really iffy.
Yeah, a lot of Finn's lines were really iffy, especially when he was fighting Captain Phasma. It's like, just shut up. Anyway,
That whole thing is iffy.
I don't know. I feel like they had a clear direction for certain parts of the movie, and then the rest of it, they just didn't care what happened. Because some arcs in that movie are my favorite in any Star Wars movie, out of all of them.
Really?
Which was anytime Kylo Ren and Rey were sort of together. I really loved every time that was on. The rest of it, I didn't care much for. I feel like Rian Johnson watched Mad Max Fury Road and then was like, you know what? I'm going to write a Star Wars movie now. And then it kind of just went from there. And they had too many characters to give shit to do too, you know? But
yeah, no, there's definitely some truth in that. My question here is, how are we going to attack reviewing this movie and talking about it? Because there are so many issues, so many major issues that happen throughout that we could start at any point and we could elaborate. How are we attacking this, Sam?
So how I wanted to attack this one is just go through parts that we found interesting, but sort of in a more chronological order, and just have it go naturally from there. So the way it started out, I feel the very first bits of dialogue would have been really divisive among a lot of viewers, which was all of the like your mum jokes and like I can't hear you shit with Poe Dameron. I feel like I saw on Twitter, I don't know if I completely agreed, but someone said if you don't like that dialogue, you're probably not gonna like the rest of the movie, which I can agree with a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. So it started out with all that shit. I don't know. What did you guys think of all that kind of humor in the beginning there?
Well, it sets a very clear bar of what the humor in that movie is going to be like, and it's obviously tainted by Disney's hand. I think it's the kind of thing that you would see in a Disney movie that's meant to make people have like a quick chuckle at how kind of stupid it is in a sense. It's not like a witty like battle between them. It's just something stupid that you would expect to happen on, I guess, a sitcom or something.
Galaxy.
Yeah, I feel like it felt very out of place for me.
I agree 100%. I feel like they got the humor right in The Force Awakens. It wasn't too over the top, and it didn't undermine any serious moments. Whereas in The Last Jedi, fucking nearly every serious moment was just undermined by a little bit of humor by a couple. So,
yeah, and it was very out of character for Poe, I believe too. I don't think someone of that stature and that ability, despite his hot-headedness, would speak like that as a way to divert, like as a diversion.
I think you would. I mean, if you look at The Force
that
Awakens,
kind of joke is what I mean. Sorry.
I don't know. Like one of the first things he says in The Force Awakens when Kylo Ren gets him, he's like, "Who talks first? You talk first, or I talk first?" Like, I can't understand you through the mask, like shit like that. I don't know. I think he's always been a kind of like arrogant, witty, kind of snappy.
That's probably true. I'll give you that.
There is a bloody silverfish crawling around on my desk, and I'm trying to kill it right now. Okay, no, I didn't get it. All right, stay tuned for my updates on me killing a silverfish.
It's a thousandth of your size. Why are you so perturbed by this?
Oh, because it was like in my notebook. You know the spiral part of a notebook? It was crawling through there, and I couldn't get it. Anyway.
You have a god complex. You have to kill smaller things. If I can't kill it, I'm going to get angry.
What's silverfish crawling around? Anyway, Jake, what did you think of the beginning of the movie?
Oh, it was good, I reckon. Yeah, it's kind of weird how they had, like, the bombers, they all got destroyed, and, like, they had the dreadnought and everything, and you're just like, motherfucker, that's a big spaceship.
Yeah. I really liked that part, actually.
I'm a big fan of it, too.
The moment that popped through, through hyperspace, I was fucking blown away. That was a really cool shot. I was like, holy shit. And then the whole process of him taking that down was really cool, too.
Yeah, I got a bit worried at some parts where, like, she got the button. She didn't press it. She just got it. And she's like, huh? Ah!
Gotta do this. No, I think that's awesome that they've expanded it to have ships of that caliber, because it would make sense for, in a time, like in that time elapsed, for them to have more greater technologies of more like destruction, size, power, etc., etc. So I'm glad that they've brought that into the universe.
Yeah, but they didn't use it so well.
Like they used it to what they needed to do for the start, but they obviously just wasn't quick enough to finish off
They needed to set up Mad Max.
This is Death Star all over again. This Mad Fighter's in shit now close range guns. Fuck.
Yeah, that's probably an oversight they should look at.
conveniently, we've mentioned fuel for the first time in franchise history.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Fast and
Like,
Furious.
that bugged me, actually. That was one of the huge parts that bugged me. It's like, oh, we're running out of fuel. You look at the journeys that they fucking take in every other movie. You've never once mentioned fuel. Why they all of a sudden? It's just a bit convenient. I don't know.
Also,
But-
like, it was a quick mass exodus of a base. You could take the liberties of enjoying the fact that, yeah, it's probably ridiculous because you don't expect there to be fuel in the universe that's never been looked at before, but it also adds a kind of like more human element to the movies where you do need to actually fuel ships up. Like we expected you would have had to in all the other movies, but it actually is like come to fruition in this, like resulting in the whole scene and the whole like setup of most of the movie.
Yeah, I mean that's fair enough. But I feel like after taking down the Dreadnought and that, which I think we all anonymously thought was really cool, there was one of the biggest scenes in the movie and one of its biggest fuck ups as well. So what I'm talking about there is, of course, not Kylo Ren about to blow up Princess Leia and the rest of the bridge. Then the two guys next to him did it.
Yeah.
There was a beautiful shot where what happened to Leia happened, and I was like, that's it, that's done. They've wrapped her up. I really enjoyed it. I liked how they did it, and then all of a sudden she's in space, stretches her head out, and becomes fucking Superman, and just flies back.
I guess they kind of like set it up because she's like more human, casual, funny, but serious. And it's sad that Fisher died because I think in like the next movie they're gonna make, she'll be sort of like a mentor to Rey. But she's like,
she can't because they said that they're not going to do a CGI Leia in episode.
He means like if she hadn't died.
Oh, if she hadn't, yeah, of course.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's a shame that she died because I reckon they had like a setup for her to be like a soft mentor to her.
Yeah, absolutely. In saying it though,
it's such that she has the Force because all the other movies she's been like independent, no Force, strong, be able to get shit done.
She's always had the Force.
Yeah, she's always been able to use it, just not like that. Like she's talked to Luke telepathically before in episode 5, but she's never done shit like that. No one done shit like that. It's like
how canon that she learns to use Force at all? Is that canon anywhere? Does she have someone who teaches her?
Not that I'm aware of. No one. The 30-year gap between Return of the Jedi, where she still hadn't used the Force, and The Force Awakens, that hasn't been filled with any kind of canon where she's been trained. We don't necessarily know that she hasn't, but it's a bit dumb to just reveal it that way if she had.
It's such an absurd power.
In George Lucas' original Star Wars plans, Leela does use the Force.
Leela comes in from Futurama and
Leela?
Leia. That's an old brain fight if I've never seen one. Yeah, okay, well, like, I'll accept that, but still, that's fucking ridiculous. She's blown out into space, should be dead instantly there. The Force can't keep you alive in space.
That's right.
And then she survives it and also floats back with jeez, I can't even.
Should have been crushed, but no, I'm in a coma for 15 minutes. Like
they don't crush, they expand.
Either way, she should have popped like a balloon.
She should have. Or
she would have got out with a bang. Amazing.
My sides.
Yes.
Even then, you saw that she was in the explosion. How is it that everyone else died from that explosion? She was in the same room. Everyone else's body got blown to bits or charred or something. Hers was.
I feel like she was like further back, so the explosion hit.
She was
fire everybody, and then it just like sucked her out.
Yeah, she was at the front. She's in like the very middle of the bridge.
Yeah, the worst part about that whole thing is that there's going to be a large generation that will view her for that, not for what she, like, the legacy she left behind with the rest of the movies. And so, like, they're going to think, like, that's kind of it, which is pretty rough.
Yeah. I mean, Leia's always been an awesome character that deserves a good send-off, which she had, then they took away. And then now that they're not going to do any CGI scenes with her in episode 9, and she hasn't filmed anything for episode 9, and she's passed away now, unfortunately, they can't give her a good ending. Like,
I think they can. I think they possibly can. I reckon that the next
where it's like on the credits when they say Leela did something.
If you call Leela one more time, I'm gonna cry.
Jesus.
Anyway, I reckon the next movie will be set years after this event, and I think it will open with a funeral for Leia. I reckon that's the way that they're going to wrap this whole thing up. Like a big, beautiful ceremony acknowledging all that she's done to continue to like reset the Rebels or the Alliance,
in the
whatever they are.
ruins of
Alderaan?
Alderaan?
But yeah, I reckon it's going to be a big like ceremony celebrating her, which is like the send off that she deserves. I think that's the only way that they can respectfully do it to her.
Well, yeah, I mean, they could have just done that in episode 8. I mean, there are also no ruins in Alderaan, but the planet's just gone. But like, I don't know, they could have done that at the end of episode 8. I feel like that would have been a really good note to end on. I mean, the Resistance is like fucked. There's nearly no one left. There's a sad moment of Leia's funeral. Everything looks bleak at the end of the movie to set it up for a redemption in the next one. I think that would have been a great final scene.
Yeah, but also then that's another 10 minutes of movie that would have dragged it out way too long for me to even rate that. That's a decent movie for what we got.
Because what you do is take away what I wanted to cover next.
But that would
shitty casino arc that went for half an hour.
That meant nothing to anything.
No, all it meant was a dumb, like, political message that had no place being in Star Wars.
Oh, it just set it up for the ending. That's all it did.
Don't race them. Okay, it's half an hour's passed by. It's like...
all I found myself thinking when those scenes happened was, boy, I wish I wasn't watching this. Can we go back to something interesting?
Yeah, I agree. I don't know why Rose was in the movie. I don't know why they introduced a new character when they had too many to begin with, especially one that had pretty much no character development. There was nothing relatable about her. She was just there. Yeah. I don't understand why she was in the movie. Finn, they could have like not introduced Rose. Finn could have been helping Poe on deck on the big rebel ship or something. Cut out half an hour more of this movie. But
no doubt, and yeah, especially since Finn was such an integral part of The Force Awakens, and he was such a good character and a big part of it in the sense that people enjoyed him and he was a main character. I just can't believe that he's been made into just some subplot and almost made a joke of, because there's another thing in the movie that deeply disturbs me as to why it was allowed to happen relating to Finn. But yeah, it's just kind of sad that they glazed over something like that in such a way.
I agree. Finn has potential to be one of the most interesting characters in it, in the fact that he used to be with the bad guys and now he's a good guy. Like, there are a lot of cool things you could do there instead of going, oh, we're going to a casino to find a guy with a speech impediment.
Yeah. Well, they did originally go there for that, but anyway.
Well, yeah, they went there to find a guy who broke code, which was going to be inconsequential anyway, because the BuzzFeed journalist-looking lady had her own plans. But
yeah, like, it's stupid. It's a terrible arc that made very little sense. I loved the setup of the world, like that exists. But it didn't need to be in the movies. Like, it didn't add anything to the movie for me.
It could have been just mentioned, like where Rose came from, and talk about a city that's scum and villainy.
I said that whole thing happened so that they could meet the kids, and that kid is going to be inspired to become the Force at the end. But you could have just had that as a post-credit scene without that whole arc anyway.
Yeah, well, you could have had it as a scene at the end after, well, if you theoretically had Leia's death, with the signal still ringing out that Leia's died, but the Resistance lives. And then you could just see that these kids know about it. They hear it on a radio or something. They have, because they are part of like the rebellion or the Alliance?
The Resistance.
The Resistance, jeez, I forgot that terribly. But yeah, they are part of that, so they hear it, and that's what inspires them. Like, there's so many other ways that you could have introduced a character like that without going so far out of the Star Wars theme, I guess.
That's right. I mean, it just really didn't fit.
No.
I hated every little bit about that arc. And actually, what disappointed me the most about that arc is, you know how they're in the casino and all the shit starts shaking, and then they walk outside and you see a track? I was like, yes, we've brought back pod racing. We're about to get a pod racing.
I thought. I thought. Yep. Like, oh, this is going to be pod racing, isn't it? Look at this track. What pod racing? What the fuck are these things?
What the fuck is going on here?
It's
and also, one of the funniest parts, for me at least, in that arc, is the drunk alien leprechaun.
Yeah, that's the only thing that was like redeeming for me.
I actually enjoyed that. Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Because it felt like a Star Wars like person. Like it felt like a character you'd see at Jabba's palace or someone, like a greedy little fucking drunk.
Yeah.
And
I
then
don't know what it was.
it was just like made of boobs. It's like,
Oh yeah.
Boob lady, boob person.
Also a thing that I reckon I thought they would have done is had like Cantina in the background.
yeah,
That's what I thought like was gonna happen. Like they'd walk past like an open door and just hear it and keep on walking.
yeah, that would have been cool. I would have
Yeah.
really liked that.
I think it's a resounding. We hate that whole part of the movie.
Yeah, that's a
I
thing, not just with us. Like, I haven't seen a single positive thing said about that arc at all.
no, because like
They introduced too many characters in the last movie, and Ryan Johnson just didn't know what to do with them all.
it's like such a simple thing. Don't introduce another character. Add Finn basically with Poe where they work together for a solution. And that's like you said, a huge mix of it out. It's taken out of it and it adds it back to like the similar structure.
And they tried to set up a big friendship with Finn and Poe in the last movie, which would have like
Makes sense.
having those two together for that one arc makes sense.
What's that? Finn's naked? Body bag licking fluid? What?
Oh, right. I forgot about that. But
Yeah.
it's a resounding hate for that arc. Wide.
Being a devil's advocate for it, can you find any parts of that arc that you did enjoy or you found could have made it better?
Yeah.
If you're reviewing it, because I'm thinking about it and there's not really anything.
Like I feel they like since they introduced the kids in the stables, they could have had like the kids trick the guards or something childish like that. Something to like encourage them to do shit.
Yeah, I'm also thinking things in that arc that were actually good, that were actually in the movie.
Bottom BB-8.
No, you lost me. See if I.
Yeah, nah, okay. Well, fuck that.
Yep.
That's the biggest disappointment out of that movie.
They could have done like Finn defecting back to like the Order and being like double agent kind of shit, where he would give some information to earn their trust back, and then like destroy shit.
I just don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I think those are my two biggest gripes. Well, actually, no, I have one more. But of my biggest gripes, covered. Most of the rest of the stuff in the movie I enjoyed. But besides the length of it and that arc needed to go because the movie was way too long. They tried to put in too much.
Yeah.
Probably the next thing for me would have to be the length of trying to convince fucking Luke to come back. I think that's absolutely absurd because we knew no matter what he was going to come back. Why would you spend half an hour trying to convince him to come back with like, and then it's just
like he struggle about like what's happened and how he can't go back.
But it didn't add anything to it. All those scenes of him just saying no, it doesn't add anything to it. The 6 times, by watching an hour of Luke struggling, do you feel his struggle more, or you just like fucking get on with it? I didn't come here to watch you hate yourself over shit. Why wasn't it just basically like, look, he goes, says no, she shows him that, or tells him that Han is passed on. That's enough to inspire him to either go back or inspires him to completely get rid of the Jedi texts by burning it there and then, which prompts Yoda to come in to give him that inspirational speech, which turns him towards actually making the decision to train her or whatever. There's like, it's just like the long drawn out thing where she fucks off the caretakers for ages. Like, that's ridiculous.
I don't think it was long and drawn out. I think it just felt that way because it was intercut with all the other arcs. I feel like that would have been like 15, 20 minutes.
Way too long. Like, why do we have to go watch him milk a giant fucking sea cow and drink its cum? Like, why do we need to see that? Why do we need to go watch him go fishing? Why does we have to see her be outside his thing 6 or 7 times?
I don't know. Like the whole time, the island seemed really deserted. I was thinking, like, how the fuck is Luke living here? And then you got to see how he got by. I thought that was cool personally. I enjoyed nearly everything on that island except when Rey went into that hole and nothing came to that. But I enjoyed nearly all of it.
No, I think it's way too long. We knew what was happening, and we were just stuck watching him do stupid shit on a fucking island.
Did you know what was happening though? You seemed pretty convinced that he didn't want to do anything like nearly the whole time.
Yeah, but, and then what? Did you have any doubt from the moment she was on that island that he was going to come back?
Yeah, I did, honestly. But because a lot of other stuff in that movie went unpredictable, why can't that?
Did you, Jake?
What?
You're an idiot.
I was no, the whole time through the movie, you're like, yeah, I think he's gonna come back. He's gonna do something fucking really cool.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, maybe he's not. Maybe he's just gonna like give a little message. But then as it got further on towards the end and stuff's happening, you're like, oh yeah, he's definitely gonna be there.
Yeah, no, I just, for me, that was annoying and not needed in my eyes. But then Sam made a good point about the fact that she goes to what is meant to be a fortress for the dark side, a resounding temple, basically, that focuses on balancing out with the light of the last text on the island, right?
Mm.
And all it does is do a shitty version of what happens in the original Star Wars series where Luke sees himself in the mask.
Yeah.
It could have like done something more so to make her doubt, but all
Oh,
it did
when
was
she
like,
went to,
oh, I'm not going to show you the parents. That's it. And
I was
fuck,
just
the
like,
clicking
oh,
went on forever.
here's some Harry Potter shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. I didn't like any of that. They could have done something cool with it. Although the whole time when she was waiting for her parents' face, I was really hoping for Ewan McGregor's face just to pop up because I need Obi-Wan in there somewhere. But
I was thinking of herself. I was like, oh, she must be a clone. Like, she had
No,
a clone.
but
I think it's a callback to the originals.
I really enjoyed seeing her training actually, and I really liked Luke's whole explanation of balance, like you have death, and from death comes life, and all that stuff. I really enjoyed that. That was a take on the Force that you haven't seen before.
That's what they said.
Huh?
She was like, there's death and then there's life.
Yeah, and then Luke was explaining it all. I thought it was all really cool. I enjoyed it a lot. But the best part of the island, I feel, is Rey had gone, and Luke goes to burn down the tree with the books, and none other than Yoda himself pops up. He's like, hello.
I think that's amazing too. I was a big fan of that scene.
I enjoyed all of it. Everything Yoda said was really cool and very much him. And it was the crazy Yoda that we got from the original trilogy, not the super annoyingly wise one from the prequels.
So it has to be. That's what he was in all the other ones. And so...
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Although, and as much as I like to say that it was him that came back, I really, really think the scene would have had a whole lot more added to it if it were Anakin or Obi-Wan who would have come back, because they meant more to Luke than Yoda did, by far.
Like, it's the idea that his master came back, the one who taught him about the Force, basically gave him everything he knows, more or less, telling him to just burn it because he knows everything. He's been taught everything. The texts aren't what's important for the Force. It's like the teacher already knows.
I think Obi-Wan's more his teacher than Yoda was, nearly, especially in the extended universe. Like, Ben Kenobi teaches like way more than Yoda.
We also know that the extended universe isn't the tier and the holocron, it's the movies are the main ones, which makes more sense for Yoda to be in there.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I just feel like Anakin and Obi-Wan have a more personal connection to Luke than Yoda does.
Like, what's Anakin going to say when he comes back? I don't know. I feel like Yoda was the appropriate choice.
Yeah, he was a good choice. I'm not complaining with it. I really enjoyed that whole scene. But I don't know. I just really wanted to see some Anakin or Obi-Wan in there, I suppose.
Yeah. Good scene, though. I'm a fan of it. And I think that the whole burning the books thing was great because it shows that they're moving on from the old ways to accept it.
The books aren't actually burned.
Hey?
Oh, you mustn't have noticed. So the books aren't actually burned. So towards the end of the movie, when Finn's in the Millennium Falcon,
he opens up
Rose has passed out. He opens up a drawer and the books are in there. So Rey had taken them.
I fucking hate it.
Either way, they are not.
I don't think
they do. Fucking Rey the thief.
Yeah. Anyway, like it symbolizes the change in what the Jedi stand for, like how they exist in this universe now.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed all of the stuff on the island, especially how we saw that Rey is dragged to the dark side as well. Like Luke was saying, he was very sort of scared because immediately as soon as she felt the dark, she went straight to it. She didn't resist it at all.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool because that put a strange sort of twist, I suppose, a strange element of the part where she is in Snoke's throne room with Kylo Ren. You're like, who is going to end up doing what? Like,
let's not talk about Snoke's throne room. That just annoyed me too much.
Why?
Oh, because like Smoke, this all-powerful fucking user of the Force, doesn't know what the fuck's going on and gets stabbed and dies. Okay, fair enough. Cut in half. And then when they're all fighting, I was just like, hang on, these two cunts can use the Force. Why are they not using it?
But like,
okay.
They did use it though.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, like, they don't use it that's the way I thought they'd use, like, lightsaber, then, like, push. And
yeah,
throw
but
'em back.
they're the Imperial Guards. Its idea is that the Force isn't as effective on there, isn't it, Sam? I believe.
Yeah.
Like, they're meant to be able to battle them. Yeah.
But either way, I'd much rather them do that battle how they did. That was a really cool battle. Like that battle was fucking awesome. The choreography was so good, and the whole scenery, the red background was great. And I really don't think they were seeing the end of Snoke because they wouldn't just pump him up to be this big great baddie without any explanation of who he was. I really do think that we're going to see him in probably a large capacity in the next movie somehow.
Yeah.
Like a bad Force ghost. I feel like he'll be a demon to Kylo Ren. Like he'll still be controlling Kylo Ren and telling him what to do as like an evil Force ghost. So I bet he'll be torn between his light side and Snoke showing him all this cool power because I don't know, like they spend nearly the whole original trilogy explaining how if you're strong with the Force and you die, you're stronger after you've died than when you were as alive. So I reckon Snoke will show Kylo Ren all this cool shit, and I reckon we'll find who he is.
Like Force lightning.
Yeah, hopefully
We already
someone.
used that. Yeah, but
Kylo Ren could use that.
I do agree with Jake though, with the fact that this person has the ability to bridge two people who are extremely far away, one in a place that is not mapped and unable to be found. He could bridge them to actually have them touch and feel and exchange emotions and talk, but he cannot visualize the fact that he's about to be stabbed. Like something like that is such like an insane flaw to me.
Like when he's talking about it, like he must. It just annoys me because he must not see. He's talking about like he's seeing him stabbing Ren, but I'm thinking if I'm thinking I'm going to stab this bloke, I'm thinking about stabbing this bloke while stabbing this girl. But I'm
Not even that.
No, the Force doesn't work that way though. It's explained in episode 3 by Yoda because Anakin was having all those visions of Padme dying and stuff like that. Yoda explains you can see events that are going to play out, but it's always cloudy. You don't know exactly how it's going to happen. And that was also proved in episode 3 by Padme dying the way she did, which was different to Anakin's dream. So they can sense that something might happen, but it's not 100% clear. So Snoke was actually sensing the right thing, just not exactly how it was going to play out. I thought that was completely justified.
So he was like, the fact that he, one, didn't see who he was going to stab, two, didn't see that he was actually not using his lightsaber as well.
He was.
And he also wasn't... Hey?
He was. So what he was doing towards Snoke, he was doing towards Rey at the same time to conceal it. Like it showed it in his hand. So he was turning his lightsaber towards Rey, acting like he was going to like kill her with that as well. At the same time, he was turning Rey's lightsaber against Snoke. He was doing both. That's why he was convinced that he was actually going to kill Rey, not Snoke. Like Kylo Ren was doing two things at once to conceal it.
And Snoke is the first Jedi.
What?
What are you...
Did you see like all the in the pond in Luke's in the like where they trained Rey? They had a pond and there was a dark half and there was a lightsaber and there was a light half and it looked like Snoke.
I highly doubt that because Snoke is definitely like being mortally injured. So how would we know what he actually looked like?
I'm just saying what the internet's telling me.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, but anyway, okay, so like, I'll just out of all my gripes, I will let that one slide. That did annoy me. And one that I'm only saying just because why not? I do love the scene and I will not shit on it anyway, but the fact that Rey, who is not trained, is able to beat 4 Imperial Guards on her own basically is pretty insane. But I love the scene, so I'm not going to say anything about it really. Like, that doesn't annoy me.
I found it funny how like Luke's watching her with the lightsaber and now she's like, you. But then when she sliced through the rock, I was like, you have too much anger in you. No control.
I think she sliced one through on purpose. Another thing with Snoke, though, is it not ridiculous that he was able to zap through, like using when he had his hologram up, he was able to use Force Lightning at that point?
No, he didn't use Force Lightning. He used Choke.
He zaps it, in the hologram comes up and he zaps the ground in front of him.
I don't know.
Very early on.
No,
all I
early
remember
on,
the hologram was he picked up Hux and like choked him and then threw him.
yeah, like just made
Hux
him
moves towards
and slapped him against the ground and
Yeah.
dragged him
that
around.
happens after. Hux is
No.
moving towards him to explain, and he uses lightning, not on him, just in front of him to make him back up.
I haven't seen
But
that.
regardless of what he uses, does that not go against the kind of the rules of the Star Wars universe? Meaning, can you
Darth
just
Vader
let me finish?
Yeah, go.
Meaning that he is able to use Force from who knows how far away and be able to choke anyone in the middle of the universe.
Darth Vader did it.
Where does the bounds for that happen?
Darth
Yeah,
Vader
Darth
did
Vader did it, so there's a precedent. But I have no problem.
Where do you do it?
He was like sitting
Throughout the original trilogy.
You have failed me for the
Where?
time.
He did it in at least every movie in
Yeah.
the original trilogy.
But wasn't he within a vicinity of them, like on the Death Star above the planets?
No, he did it through holograms and stuff as well. And Hux was also on Snoke's ship, wasn't he? So in the way, there's not a huge distance between them anyway.
No, he was not.
Hux, no, they were there, and Snoke was like in his ship further back.
Oh, that's right, because his ship joins them later. Yeah, you're right. But no, yeah, it's there's a lot of precedence for Vader using Force choke on his like minions, I suppose. Through different buildings and holograms, and yeah.
So that also though, what stops that being able to just Force choke someone on a ship anywhere? Like, where does the bounds for that end?
Well, I guess they have to.
There has to be communication. That's the only link I could see. I mean, they've never explained it.
I feel like
it doesn't make any sense to me, that whole thing. Then the fact that that's a thing that can happen, I think that's far fetched, because the way the Force is explained, it does not work like that.
Why not?
He explains that it's not like something. It's the connection between everything, the bridging and the balancing.
Mm-hmm.
How is like the balancing of like that, where they use Force choke in front of them, makes sense, but like so far across the universe, like have that kind of connection seems a bit far fetched.
Well, if the Force is in and through everything, I don't really see how distance for something like that.
I guess I have to say it's your level of mastery.
Yeah, that too.
Of the Force.
Well, yeah, especially for example, Anakin is the most powerful Force user to ever have existed at that point in time. We don't know how powerful Snoke is, but Anakin had the most midichlorians ever found, which is the dumbest fucking thing ever. But that's
let's just say he had Force. Let's just leave midichlorians out of this shit.
Well, that is how it works. If that's explained how it works, and Anakin had the most of them out of anyone in history, then I feel like he'd have the ability to do something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You will be the new.
If that's what you think, but I think for me that's ridiculous. It seems very far fetched.
Yeah, fair enough.
So what else then happened? Come back. They try and break the code and they get found out by a droid.
It was like the funniest shit for me. I was just like, hey, that's your evil twin. He's gonna find you. He's gonna get you.
Probably the next ridiculous thing is the whole fact that Phasma is alive.
Yeah, that was my next gripe. No, she's not alive. What? Oh, you mean like from after episode 7?
From Trash Compactor Lady.
Yeah, gotcha. I mean, no, sure. I always wanted them to bring Phasma back, but Phasma has to have like her real name has to end in Fett, surely, because Jango Fett was a cool character. They got killed off immediately. Boba Fett was a cool character that got killed off in a really shitty death and wasn't in the movie as much as he should have been. And now so is Phasma. She had the coolest armor. She could have had a really cool rivalry arc with Finn, but no, they're just like, let's put her in one scene, kill her off straight away.
Yeah, but I feel like she ain't gonna come as big as Boba.
No. Apparently, they haven't disproved, people working on the movie or whoever it was, that Phasma won't survive that.
Oh, fuck me dead.
She seemed dead for all money in my books. Bringing her back is dumb at this point.
Yeah, like she fell.
I
Her
don't
mask
get that,
broken open. She was engulfed in fire. The fire would go into her mask.
100% agree.
She's in a metal protection. She's gonna boil.
Yep. Yeah. Also, I guess the explosion, the fact that just the three of them seem fine, and they survive it without a problem. That's pretty ridiculous.
Convenient.
My next biggest gripe is the running in the AT-AT scene, where they're running off the ship.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and BB-8 comes up in the AT-AT in the war. Oh,
Yeah, okay, that's fine. But then they jump on the AT-AT, right?
Mm.
And then they're sprinting with explosions behind them. It's all exploding. The ship's it's going down, right? All of a sudden, they're in a ship and they're floating away, even though seconds before the explosions were right behind them, encroaching. And we have no idea how they got off because there's no way that they got off an AT-AT into a ship and flew off in that kind of time.
I agree. It was ridiculous.
They could have added 2 seconds of just seeing them jump off into a ship that was waiting, like mid-flight, like mid-air. Even then, that's ridiculous because nothing in that hangar was fine. That's fucking stupid.
Oh, so dumb. Yeah, and the code breaker, like he's in there. He's like, "Oh, I'm in the movie. I'm gonna have a speech impediment, and then betray you." He didn't have to be in there at all. Even if they really wanted some kind of reason for Finn to go on to Snoke's ship, they he could have just gone, you know what? I've been a janitor on that ship. I know how it goes. I can go and stop this code. They didn't need to go to the casino. They could have sent Finn straight to that ship if they really wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And then not have a dumb way for him to get out as well.
Yeah, he could have just had the access to the everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and the code break is just there for no reason.
Mm-hmm. It's just to give them somewhere to go. No, it's ridiculous.
But
yeah.
What came after that though, I thought was really fucking cool. The kamikaze, that was a really. I hated the character. I didn't give a shit if she killed herself or not. Like she was just there. But how it looked really cool, and the sounds of it and the shots they used, and the silence, and then the explosion, and the black and white. It looked so good.
Are you talking about when Rose saves Finn?
No, I'm talking about when
that raises more questions than it answers, though.
I don't care. It looked cool.
Like, why, if hyperspeed can destroy a fucking fleet, do they not just have drones that can hyperspeed through entire armadas? Why is that not a viable thing?
No, I don't think hyperspeed that destroyed the ship. I think it was the size of their massive ship that.
Yeah, why don't they just do that?
Because that ship is fucking massive. That's the main ship in a fleet. How many ships are you going to build out of the size of a main ship in a fleet?
You just make a giant droid that isn't filled in with shit.
The First Order did it.
But yeah, like, why can't, like, First Order can make 30,000 ships. Even the Rebels have heaps of ships. Why is it not effective for them to use one of them to take out 7 or 8 of theirs in a fight? An unmanned giant ship. Yes, it's big. Yes, it's a great loss to them. But you're taking out 7 or 8 different ships with one hyperspeed ship.
Star Destroyers.
It doesn't make any sense why that wouldn't be a viable thing for war. It's so stupid. I think that's absurd. That they took out so many ships. If it went through the ship and blew up, like, stop one of the ships, fine. But the fact it took out half of an armada is ridiculous.
I didn't think it did take out half an armada, because then how did the armada then get destroyed? I thought it just destroyed the big one.
Nope, it went through a heap in the back.
Oh, okay.
Heaps of them. So, like, I think that's stupid. Dumb. They could have just had to take out one thing. Could have had one thing, it would have been great.
I had how she's like.
But you know what? Oh, sorry. You go ahead.
When they're like on the salty planet, and the guy, the big, I don't know, old bloke, general, whatever, he just walks out and his footprints uncover like the red salt, and the guy just goes, salt.
And by salt planet, you mean not Hoth.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't that just like a throwback to Hoth?
It's just the way that I've had it described to me by my mates is it's not Hoth. The planet not Hoth, because it's just the Hoth battle.
Yeah,
I agree. That 100%.
Walkers. But
oh yeah.
But before we do get to that planet though, sorry to cut you there, Ben. That moment with the kamikaze was the second opportunity they had where if they still wanted to do that scene, instead of having all the shit with this extra general nobody cares about because she's never been in any other scenes and she had like 2 words of dialogue, that could have been Leia. Like, you could have put Leia in there, and then that could have been a send-out. She risks it all and kills herself to save the rest of the fleet. That would have been an awesome send-off for her as well.
Yeah, and that still would have drove Luke to come back too, I reckon.
Yeah,
absolutely. But no, they had to introduce another character that doesn't matter, just like Rose.
I honestly thought, before I found out about the hyperlight speed tracker that the Starship has, whatever it's called, I honestly thought that purple hair lady, pink hair lady, was a double agent.
Hmm.
Like,
Even that would have been a cool plot line for Poe. Poe figures that out. That gives him something cool to do instead of stand there and be angry.
that's what I thought. And then when she sees all the rebels flying away, she goes, "Fly, you rebels!"
Yeah,
And I was so ready for scum at the end of it.
that would have been
scum. They would have got wiped out.
No, the one time Rebel Scum was used when Finn called himself a Rebel Scum or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, fly, you rebel scum.
I just feel like Rian Johnson, who directed and wrote it, he had stuff that was so clear in mind with Luke and Rey and Kylo, and he just didn't give a shit about the rest of the movie. Like, he could have put so much extra thought into all those other arcs. You could even leave most of the other arcs in there and change them a little bit to be good and shorten the movie with a few tiny little tweaks. You just wasted, like, it's an hour and a half of the 2 hour and 40-minute movie that is just useless.
I just find, like, so unreal. So they used all those carrier ships from the planet, right? This is a throwback to rescue all those people and put them on the big fleet, big ship. So how come they didn't? Oh, they could have, like, drained the fuel from the carrier ships into their ship. Or,
I thought that's what they were doing.
No, they were emptying their ship fuel into the
escape pods.
Escape pods.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, it wasn't the other way around. Also, the two
There was
ones
no
that
fuel in the escape pods.
What are you talking about?
You said why was it not the other way around, that the escape pods were fueling the big ship?
Well, not the escape pods, the ones they launched themselves off from the planet to reach the big ship.
Because all the fuel was used to get to the big ship, wasn't it?
Yeah, like they don't have huge amounts of escape pods. Like
they were just transports, yeah.
Forget it. I don't go into
it. Brilliant.
I don't know. I feel like you either don't have all the Mad Max and casino shit and you go straight to that planet and have a cool arc of them defending that planet and then have all the shit going on the island and Snoke's ship, or you don't have the last planet and have some sort of last stand as a space battle.
Yeah. Well,
like them all of a sudden just going to another planet in the last 20 minutes of the movie just didn't fit right with me for pacing.
The not Hoth planet arc of the movie gave me more gripes than good things. It annoyed me more than anything.
Oh, I didn't mind it. I thought it was alright. Like, it looked really cool. All the shots
looked amazing.
It looked so good. But, yeah.
It had all the potential, but then my gripe starts when they're charging towards the battering ram cannon, right?
Yeah, door knocker.
They're going after it, and then all of a sudden, Finn decides he's going to take it out himself. He's close enough to take it out, right? Everyone drops back, it's just him. Prior to that, all the ships are being taken out left, right, and center. One ship makes a beeline for it. Why cannot one shot take him out? That's my first gripe out of that, right? Second of all, there's this laser that is burrowing through a giant door that is probably the fucking temperature of the sun. And Finn is able to jump up into it, and his ship's rattling, and like that, beside the fact that his ship didn't get destroyed, he's simply breaking a sweat. That is ridiculous that he's flying through
all of the cancer at once.
How did he not just explode? How did he not just be disintegrated instantly? Like, that makes no sense again.
Because my emotions of watching a character who is useless the entire movie nearly die, I guess. Like, they wanted some sort of emotional part. And we were supposed to care about Rose saving him. I was like, I hope Rose just died because she shouldn't be in the rest of the saga.
When I was watching that, like, Finn's going to sacrifice himself, then I saw, like, it clicked back to Rose. I was like, you better stay away from this. And, like, she turns around, smashes him out of the way, and, like, she's dying there. I was like, aren't you daft? He could have saved all those people, yet for one life, all the people could have been saved. But you sacrificed yourself to save him, and that does nothing.
Like, the First Order, if they didn't waste their time on Luke, Ghost Luke, then, because they'd gotten through the shield door, they could have killed all of the rebels in that hangar. And Rose, if she saved Finn and they ignored Ghost Luke, she just single-handedly wiped out the rest of the resistance. Yeah. Like, by not letting him take out that big fucking battering ram.
But he shouldn't have taken it out in the first place. How?
I wanted Luke to, like, walk out, but, like, everyone's watching him. And as he gets to like the door that's on fire, he just pulls out the lightsaber and then walks out. I reckon that would have been a cool scene.
What actually, when I was watching the movie, it's not a gripe I have with it anymore, but when it was happening, I was so fucking angry that Luke stood there, somehow had his old lightsaber that had just been destroyed, and he stood there and copped all the fire from the AT-AT and was fine.
Yeah.
And I was like, no one can do that. The Force doesn't work like that. You can't do that. And then, I mean, I guess they copped it out. It was a Force ghost, which you can't touch.
That's still just as fucking annoying to me as well.
Yeah, it's not as bad as what it seemed originally, although I still didn't like it. And
it's still pretty terrible.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's just not as bad as what I thought was happening. I mean, they kind of justified it, but not really. So it's still dumb. But yeah,
I reckon it was cool how it all happened, and you're like, oh, this man's the boss. This man's motherfucking. Ah, damn. And like he walks out and he's like brushes his shoulder off.
Yeah,
that's dumb. That's dumb.
That's dumb.
I like that.
Brushes his shoulder off. Like that's. I don't know. I feel like that's not his character.
That's a really cool
point. The fact that that happens, and just the fact that they shoot him ridiculously. Yeah, right. Survives somehow that shit. But then they decide to make it that he has projected a Force ghost. A man who has cut himself off completely from the Force for however long it is, the 30-year gap or something you were saying?
Oh, no,
how is someone able to mass enough of the Force to project themselves when this is meant to be a power that I heard is something you need to train for years doing with the Force?
I can tell
and he's
you
just instantly able to do that.
I can tell you. He's Luke goddamn Skywalker.
No,
that doesn't make any sense. Doesn't matter how powerful you are, you can't, like, if you don't know how to do something, how are you going to do it?
It's just a movie!
It's Star Wars universe, it's not just a movie. You need to realize that this is a cult classic. This is something that is going to be scrutinized for every aspect.
It's like Lord of the Rings, you hold it to a higher standard.
A very high standard.
Most
you can't just sit back, but Luke Skywalker, you do whatever he wants.
You hold it to a high standard, a very high standard.
You can't sit back and watch a movie like Star Wars the same way you would, like, for example, something like Pacific Rim.
Shrek.
Where that's just there to look cool and have cool shit happening. There's no laws to how anything is going to work, or like it doesn't have the same resonance as something like Star Wars, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I really wanted a lightsaber battle with Luke and Kylo Ren at the time, which obviously that wouldn't have made sense, but we didn't get a lightsaber battle. That's apart from Rogue One, this is the only Star Wars movie without a lightsaber battle.
There was a lightsaber battle. Oh no, sorry.
No, it wasn't.
They battled over a lightsaber. Does that count?
Yeah, they battled. No lightsabers ever clashed.
Yeah, no. So that's interesting. I wonder why, like, they went about that. There was no clash between like Kylo and Rey at all. Like, they could have added that, like,
right.
A conflict, and then
I just read something about Luke Skywalker's projection thing, and it said it could have helped because of his connection with his sister.
That's fucking stupid.
Okay.
She has no power of the Force, really. What's she gonna do?
Yeah.
Only she does. She's fucking Mary Poppins suit.
Oh yeah, true. Sorry, she can fly and survive in space. That's pretty fucking impressive. It's stupid, but that whole scene brought one of my favorite shots I've ever seen in a Star Wars movie, and is the lineup between Luke and Kylo, where his lightsaber triggers an explosion of electricity in the sky in the background. That wide-angle shot is iconic and just sent shivers down my spine as soon as I saw it. That was amazing.
That was pretty fucking dope. Actually, just before that happened was the second best shot. Star Wars, Luke staring on the...
Turned off?
Yeah.
Get turned off, I'm asking.
All right.
Okay.
Bye-bye!
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye! Bye-bye!
There's another appearance of Jake's grandmother. She was in our latest video. This podcast, so we might sign her on to soon.
And she doesn't even know.
That's the best bit.
But
yeah,
is the shot of Luke standing in front of all the AT-ATs before they shot him looked so cool as well.
That was very impressive.
Behind them is like, oh, I want that wallpaper. But yeah, so out of that salt planet, out of Not Hoth, we got a lot of cool shots, and then a lot of stuff that didn't make sense, like object fading away, Han's dice fading away for no reason. How does that work? What is that?
That was a projection of Luke as well.
So you reckon he's got as finite that he can produce dice and himself? God, he's good.
Apparently so. Apparently
But also,
so.
the fact that we glaze over, it takes them 30 minutes at a fucking speeder to get to the AT-ATs, and then Finn can carry Rose the entirety of the way, somehow get past explosions, and be back before it happens.
Yeah. They're like, that
And
man's got
that's
some
fine.
legs.
So
Man, Finn, you can run. You fast boy.
I think either Finn or Rose, more likely Rose because she's a new character, have a secret ability that they didn't make known that time doesn't exist for them.
I see. I see. That makes sense.
Oh, the one thing that also grabbed me, it's about Luke again, that when Master Yoda came to him, or when he was like sort of teaching Rey the Force, they could have done the Yoda X-Wing thing. Like he had
Yeah,
his,
they could have. The
he
X-Wing
had
was
his
in the
X-Wing
water,
there
wasn't it?
and just like Luke make Rey raise it, or Luke raise it himself and fly to Nothoth.
Mm.
But that would have taken too long, I guess. 'Cause
I reckon they wanted to do that, but people gave The Force Awakens so much shit for being too much like A New Hope. They probably didn't want to do it because people would give The Last Jedi too much shit for
Yeah.
being like Empire. But
That
I
worked out
love,
well.
I love the Easter egg where it
Yeah, it's
has
a cool
like,
Easter
the
egg.
X-Wings there, and then you see behind it like a big monster curl over and go back into the ocean.
Yeah.
And you're like, damn, son.
I really liked that. That was really cool. I really do wish that they lifted it. But yeah, so objects fade away and shit. The whole movie, Ray and Finn are like, oh, tell Ray I said this. Tell Finn I said this. I hope I see Finn. I hope I see Ray. They hug. Don't even really exchange a word.
Yeah.
That's it.
And then Ray's like,
No.
oh, he's got another girl. What is
They
it?
also
Ray also looks like she's got another guy in Kylo Ren. So
Yeah.
They also in the base they called the fucking animals crystal critters. You're Star Wars. Give them a name.
What are these?
It's a base that exists. It's probably an animal that exists. The crystal fucking critters. That's stupid.
What is
Where'd
this?
the crystal critters go? It's like surely there's a name you can come up with in a universe that's so fucking expansive.
Where's this crystal critter?
we're the spark that'll light the fire that'll burn the First Order down. Now go follow the
Melt
crystal critters.
Where did Wellington go?
Oh my god. Oh well.
We're pretty much
talking
at
about
the
this
end
is
yeah.
yeah. Anyway, on a lighter note, I think I have a little bit of a little prize for you guys, a little bit of a story that I want to quickly mention.
Shoot.
Goodbye.
So one of my mates, he's been doing his film and all that. The one who also gave me this rating system has wrote his synopsis for the next movie. What he reckons going to happen.
Ooh.
And so if you want to check out his content, his CD drive on YouTube. But this is what he has. So episode 9 takes place 5 years later. Rey has trained up and Kyle has reformed the Knights of Ren. Leia has finally stepped down as leader, and Finn now ranks higher up in the Rebels. They launch a daring stealth attack to cripple the First Order and force the First Order to step back, and Chewie sacrifices himself for the cause. Porg learns to fly the Falcon, while Rey kills the Knights of Ren with the help of Force ghosts. But eventually, Rey makes one decision that redeems all his bad deeds. Rey makes a living selling alien cum from the island for everyone in the galaxy to enjoy.
Alien cum.
It started out so cool. I was like, yeah, I'm digging this, and then it's like, oh well.
It's one of my favorite
I like
things.
that a lot.
Looks like Disney's found the next director.
Cameron, I don't know if you're into script writing or not, but you should write that script.
He does. He's got a couple of major projects he's been working on. Very good at writing. He is. Like I said, I read it. I was like, man, this is great. I hope this happens. And then it's like, oh yeah, alien cum.
you realize when he says Porg takes over the Millennium.
Yeah, Porg lets him drive the Falcon.
That's hilarious. Except, actually, funny you brought that up because I was about to say, what are your predictions for like the next movie?
I reckon.
What I just read.
I reckon Rey won't become like a Jedi for the Force because like we've seen her interact with the darkness. I actually think she'll be a grey Jedi.
That's what I think too. I think they're going to get rid of I think they're going to do what Kylo Ren said and get rid of the whole Jedi Sith thing.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be like grey Jedi. That's what I wanted to see at the end of the movie, like something about the balance of the Force and like a dude have a blue lightsaber and also a red one, or somebody with that. It's just been like cool to see it.
Yeah,
the shit brown lightsaber.
I mean,
not worth repeating. I'm sorry.
Also, I want to see the black lightsaber and the white one.
Yeah. Anyway, But yeah.
Kylo
What do you
Ren,
reckon, Sam?
he was saying like, if we kill Luke and we've already killed Snoke, we can erase the past and like begin anew. I think something like that will happen. Well, actually, no. I thought something like that was happening, but then I was talking to someone about this last night at a Christmas party, and I thought, you know what? They're not going to end it with Episode 9. It's not going to have a definitive ending because A, they could never write an ending that would please everyone ever. Like they couldn't hope to do that, and B, they have another trilogy announced, so I think it's not really going to end. They'll wrap up a few of those characters, but shoehorn it straight into this little kid at the end of 8 because Rian Johnson's doing a new trilogy. They'll shoehorn it right into that little kid and still have a lot of conflict in the galaxy. And pretty much the same thing going on. Nothing is over. So that way, they have another trilogy. That makes Disney more money because people are then more keen to see the new trilogy. So it makes sense on the business.
Yeah, but I'm sort of keen for this trilogy, fair enough. But if they want to drag it on, they're just milking the cow here.
That's right. But
is the new trilogy not about Obi-Wan? Is that not what it's about?
No, they haven't said what it's about. Rian Johnson doesn't even know what he's going to make it about yet. He's like, we're
I've agreed, but I got no clue what I'm doing.
He said we absolutely haven't picked a time period or any characters or anything like that. Like anything is on the cards at the moment.
Right. Yeah. Well, what I hope is that it is set some years in the future after this. I'm hoping that there is a bit of a break, which will give them time to have Leia probably, hopefully, die, and so they can give her that funeral. And then I reckon things such as the Knights of Ren forming and like the redevelopment of like the Rebels or the Alliance or fucking whatever I was calling them. Yeah. I hope that comes to fruition so that we have a bit more of a conflict between the two. And if they aren't going to end it, I reckon that's probably the way to go about it, with a continued struggle. But mainly, I'm just hoping it is further in the future.
I'm just mostly hoping that Episode 9 does bring a fair bit of closure.
Yeah.
I just want an end to the fucking saga, man. Anyway.
Yeah. If anything, we do have the fact that the third movie of them are usually pretty good. Like, the Sith is the best movie of them, and
yeah, Jedi's great.
So hopefully this will be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll see. Also, Abrams is back, so.
And he made a great movie.
Man.
So even though it was still a rehash of Episode 4, I still thought that was a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate how Luke's journey ended. It began with 2 sons and ended with 2 sons.
It also ended. So when that was happening, when you realized that he was a Force ghost, I nearly burst out laughing at a point because he looked like he was taking a big old shit. Like he was pulling, he was forcing a big one out, and I nearly started bursting out laughing. And I was sitting with a random guy next to me at the midnight premiere. He was nearly crying. Like you could hear him getting emotional. I was like, "Oh, don't laugh! I'll just totally ruin it for this guy. He's into it. He's enjoying it."
Oh no!
Ruin it for him. But
that's the funniest thing that happened.
I was just sitting there, kind of giggling. I looked over at my mate Trent. He looked at me, giggling the same thing. Like we were on the same wavelength. But yeah.
Best thing that happened to me in the movie was when Luke is reintroduced to Leia. She's like, I know I did something with my hair, and someone towards the front did a fucking spit take. Like, she goes, I did something with my hair, and they've gone, as in they found that the funniest thing. And I think that was fine.
I thought it was
my favorite.
He's like, Master Luke, and he just winks at him.
Because everyone fucking hates 3PO is annoying. But anyway, I like when she said that hair thing. I didn't think it was incredibly funny. I just thought it was a witty line of dialogue.
This person thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. The same guy next to me who was nearly crying when Luke died, he was nearly crying of laughter when Rey cut the rock and it fell and hit the cart, which I thought was dumb.
How's that funny?
That's Disney humor.
Like, what?
Not that it's just Disney humor. I'm fine with Disney humor. I just hate it when Disney humor cuts a serious moment or a cool moment, which happened a lot in this movie.
But it doesn't fit the movie.
Man, that pissed me off.
Yeah, it's dumb. So many different things you could do. I'm just not going to get into it. The humor in it was fucking rough at best. The good jokes were overshadowed by shit. But anyway, look, this whole conversation has made me re-evaluate my average good rating, getting it more towards an average, I'm going to be honest.
Oh, really? I still stand by
that.
I feel like there's a lot of this movie really well directed, parts of it that are really well written, and parts of it that had me on the edge of my seat thinking what's going to happen next. So I still think it's a good, but fuck, it has a lot of flaws. It's a great movie in there somewhere. somewhere in there there's a great movie. It's just too muddled.
After I watched it was on Snapchat or on YouTube, I think it was. My IGN review of the movie, and I was like, right, let's watch this. Let's see what they think about it.
I've ever seen. It's 9.7. This is the best movie since Empire.
And I was like, this is 9.7. I was like, what? No, settle down, step it back. Maybe like a 7, maybe an 8. Higher 7s.
I give it I don't rate movies out of 10 anymore. Like my rating system for the movie reviews on Banter Lab is great, good, bad, and ugly. But in saying that, like every main critic that actually counts towards Rotten Tomatoes or Metacritic gave it either a 9 or a 10. Rotten Tomatoes at the moment, the critic rating is sitting at like a 9.7.
It's 93% at the moment.
It hurts me. That hurts me.
The rating is 53%.
It's 56%.
Yes, there you go. Like, holy shit. The Disney
which is ridiculous. Yeah, no, I can't. I just hate that critics have given us a good rap to that extent.
Well,
it's not a movie worth that.
It's sort of like when they do like critics of COD. COD.
No, like proper critics, like acclaimed critics who have a bit of like status. But yeah, I think we've covered most of the main points of this movie.
Absolutely.
And
sorry, you go ahead.
I said I don't really want to go into more of it because it's just making me rethink my decisions.
Yeah, no,
I just want to keep enjoying it for what it was. But yeah, these discussions don't help.
I still think there's a lot to enjoy in that movie. There's a lot in that that's great, but it's so muddled. But anyway, we're just over the hour mark now, which is where we'll usually wrap this up. So if you haven't already, maybe check us out on iTunes. We do pop up an edited audio-only version on iTunes every Wednesday at the same podcast. The audio quality is not cut out on what does that sound? Anyway,
I don't know.
Yeah. What the fuck is that? Anyway, yeah, we cut out a lot of shit and stuff like that. So and definitely give us a rating if you think our podcast is great. Give us a 5-star. If you don't, give us a 1-star. Give us feedback. Feedback is always loved. And if you ever want to see us live, like you are right now, every Monday night, usually around 7 or 8, we'll start streaming. If you like the video, give it a like, share it with your friends, and give us a subscribe so you know when we post pretty much any other podcast whenever we live. But until next time, I've been Sam for Banter Lab with Ben and Jake reviewing The Last Jedi. Au revoir.
Bye.
Join us next week when we bring back Jar Jar Binks as a Jedi.
Join us next week when we make a shrine worshipping Mary Poppins Superman Leia.
Join us next week when we all drink blue milk.